Spiritual ventriloquism. You are listening to Dummy himself. Well, I would like to talk for a few moments on the subject of Gnosticism and knowledge. And I would like to try to explain the difference between the two. Let it not be that, the accumulation of knowledge is considered a bad thing, because certainly it isn't. So there is knowledge that is, it just, enhances the person. Matter of fact, knowledge is one of the 7 Ruachim of Elohim, Yahweh. And to equate one of those spirits as being Gnostic would be quite ridiculous. So, but anyway, I would like to explain a little bit of difference between the two. Gnosticism was a very, was a very prevalent thing early on that ran parallel to the faith of Yeshua HaMoshiach. And out of the progenitors of Gnosticism, men like Simon the Magus and the Nicolaitanes, and as well as others, produced the religion of Christianity, which I believe is a Gnostic religion. And what I mean by Gnosticism is Gnosticism means not, it does mean knowledge. Gnosis means knowledge in the Greek, obviously, but Gnosticism actually goes deeper than that. Gnosticism, or a Gnostic, is one who, by virtue of the accumulation of knowledge in any given area, religious areas, whether it be in areas of eschatology, theology, or any of the other disciplines that are exercised in the religion of Christianity. Gnosticism is the belief that one's salvation, one's acceptance with the Most High, and one's, market value or self-worth is denominated in the coin of knowledge. Now, that is an utterly false premise, and anyone who trusts and leans to their own understanding is probably a fool, at least in the long run. We know that Gnosticism is not the faith of Yeshua HaMoshiach. It's not the faith of Yahweh. Okay? However, knowledge is a very important part, very important component of the salvation of the whole man. Okay? The Bible tells us that to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Basically, you've had enough garbage over the years put in. The garbage needs to come out. The only way you can purge the garbage out is to begin filling that vessel with information, with knowledge, pure knowledge, okay? Peaceable knowledge. The knowledge of the Savior, Yeshua HaMoshiach. Those things have to be put in the person through the reading of his word in order to purge out the old leaven and become a new lump, as Yeshua HaMoshiach said. Gnosticism, in a simple word, is religion. It's a religious spirit. And we know that the Bible does say that knowledge puffs up. Okay? That doesn't necessarily always mean that, it's bad to have knowledge, and to be filled with knowledge would mean that you would become haughty, or that you would become proud. But the truth of the matter is that can happen. Whether or not you're intending on trusting in knowledge to deliver you, that is a sore temptation that presents itself on a very subliminal level. And then ultimately you find yourself one day trusting in your own arm of the flesh, trusting in your own thoughts, leaning to your own understanding, and you will lose the fear or the reverence or the dependence upon the Spirit of Yahweh as a result. So anyway, the best thing that one can do is to, like it says here in 2 Peter, 2 Peter 1:5 is a good text. Seems like I've been hitting the letters a lot lately, but so be it. It says, and for this reason, do your utmost to add to your belief uprightness. And the King James says, add to your faith virtue. And to uprightness, knowledge. Okay, it's telling us to add these things. This is an emissary of Yeshua HaMoshiach telling us that we do need knowledge. Now, not all knowledge is good knowledge. We need to, make sure that that's clear. Not all knowledge may be convenient for the moment. Not all knowledge is something that you necessarily have to try to take in and understand right now. There may be things that are shared, especially if you've listened to me at any length of time, that I have a tendency to speak on a level at times that might be a little bit above your pay grade or whatever, as they say. I do try to condescend. I do try to help people to to reach up to that next rung on the ladder, because I think it's important. But again, you lay things on your plate. That doesn't mean you got to eat the whole plate right then either. So anyway, it says to add to your faith, or to your uprightness, to your belief, uprightness, and to uprightness, knowledge, and to knowledge, self-control, to self-control, endurance, and to endurance, reverence, to reverence, brotherly affection, and to brotherly affection, love. For if these are in you, and knowledge is a part of that, and increase, if knowledge is in you and it is increasing, they cause you to be neither inactive nor without fruit in the knowledge of our Master Yeshua HaMoshiach. So it does take a certain amount of knowing. It does take a certain amount of information that can be processed, that can be understood, that can be built upon, foundational knowledge and things like that, in order to be, what it says right here, fruitful in the knowledge of our Master Yeshua HaMashiach. Many times we're told by Shaul and other places that he would not have us to be ignorant in Thessalonians. And then he tells us not to be ignorant. Okay? Now, in order to have that, you have to have knowledge. Now, let's turn back to Acts chapter 4. We're going to go to verse 13 real quick. And we're going to see where the emissaries, they were preaching Yeshua, and he was filled with the set-apart spirit. Okay? And he said to them, rulers of the people and elders of Israel, in verse 8, if today we are called to account for a good deed toward a sick man by whom he has been healed, let it be known to all of you and all the people of Israel that in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach of the Nazarene, and the reason I'll tell you why it's the Nazarene, because there never was a place called Nazareth in the days of Jesus. Jesus lived amongst an enclave of people who were serious about the covenant. They were called Nazarene, which means guardians of the covenant. They were basically, it was a radical enclave of, what should you say, some of the more quarrelsome and rebellious people against Herod and the Romans. Basically, he put himself in the midst of and dwelled in the midst of a what do you say, a guerrilla region. So, and I might also add that he chose some mercenaries for his own personal bodyguards in case he needed them. Have you here any swords? We have two. That is enough knowledge. Okay? All right. And then Peter smote off an ear in a demonstration of his skills and training as a mercenary. Judas Iscariot is a bad translation. It should say Judas the Sicarii. The Sicarii were trained mercenaries. And the reason they were called the Sicarii was because of a certain dagger that they favored for use in political assassinations. Okay? Now, you could pretty well dispense with all of the Jesus holding the little sheep in his arms and his long surgeman-esque hair, trying to look meek and low, whatever that is, with a goofy cigarette lighter flashing above his head. You can forget about that. That's not your Messiah. If it is, then it's a false Messiah, because he wasn't anything like that. As a matter of fact, he was quite otherwise, and he knew how to take care of business himself. So anyway, it says, let it be known to you all, the people of Israel, that in the name of Yeshua, Messiah of Nazareth, whom you impaled, whom Elohim raised from the dead, by him this one stands before you healthy. This is the stone which was rejected by you builders, which has become the chief cornerstone. And there is no deliverance in anyone else, for there is no other name under the heaven given among men by which we need to be saved. And seeing the boldness, okay, of Kepha and Yohanan, and then it says here, and perceiving that they were unlearned or ignorant and ordinary men, okay? In other words, they were ignorant and unlearned men. Now you're talking about the ones that were who had knowledge, and the ones who were learned making this judgment. So, and Yohanan, perceiving that they were unlearned and ordinary men, they marveled, and they recognized that they had been with Yeshua. So, here you go. That's a good example. And I'm not trying to say that there's such a thing as dumbass salvation or ignorant salvation. I'm sure he has mercy on the ignorant, but he doesn't always want you to stay that way. So I am not pitching Gnosticism. I am pitching that the level of one has in care of studying out and getting to know true knowledge, which is pure, which is peaceable. Okay? All right? When they have that, then when you get that, then the knowledge that you have won't puff you up. If anything else, it will actually, in a sense, make you more humble. Now, it will make you more sure. It will make you more balanced. It will make you more secure in the Messiah by the Ruach HaKodesh. But those are all things that we really need to have and to possess. So anyway, yeah, we're saved. He said when he was being impaled on the tree, he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not." Now, that's pretty ignorant. That's a bunch of people that don't have any knowledge, and that led to an act that obviously could be equated as possibly the sin of all sins, and that is calling good evil and calling evil good by taking the sinless one and nailing him to a stake and killing him and taking his life. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They're ignorant as hell, and that's the only reason they're doing this, because if they know, and then the record does say that, It says that if the princes of this world would have known, they would not have crucified or impaled the Son of Esteem. Okay? Now, so anyway, let me go ahead and get back to that now. Again, let me go give you some Proverbs, the book of Proverbs, chapters, we'll just say, just start with chapters 7, 8, and 9. That ought to get you pretty well down the way of what constitutes knowledge. And then this does not add up or equate to Gnosticism, which is people studying topical things. And you can possess the same knowledge that a Gnostic has, and yet the Gnostic is puffed up and he's defiled. The Gnostic is deceived, thinking that what he knows is going to gain him acceptance with the Most High. Well, if that's the case, then I don't even need Jesus, do I? Because if I went basically just on this book alone, then obviously I would be as saved as the best of them. But Yah doesn't grade on that basis. He's looking upon the heart. He's looking upon the inner man that should be renewed day by day, and the inner man that is created in righteousness and true holiness. And that man is always going to stay humble. Like I said before, it doesn't mean that he's going to, shy away from confrontation or anything like that. The world perceives those things as pride. Why? Because you're not going to cooperate with them. You're not going to do what they want to do. You're not going to think what they want you to think. You're not going to say what they want you to say. And that is a threat to them. They feel like they're the odd man left out if you just don't, become one of the planets that circle them, and that your life is just a mere extension of your own. Well, if that's the case, I would probably be attached to all of my brothers and sisters like Siamese twins. If there was no such thing as individuality, we would all been born at one time, and we would have been like, look the same, talk the same, think the same. He could have made it a whole lot easier. If the whole world was supposed to be like Brother Richard, then this whole world would run along pretty smooth, or it would be over in one day. You decide. Well, anyway, I don't know any other better way to say that, except that knowledge is a part of your salvation. Gnosticism is a misapplication of knowledge and a deception of trusting in that the things that you didn't even get it yourself. The Spirit of Yah had to reveal things to you. You had to learn from a book that somebody else wrote. You had to be discipled by someone in order to get where you're at today. So you're really not that special, and you're really not that important. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know the difference and help you understand the difference between knowledge and Gnosticism. Okay? Well, anyway, that's just all I got to say tonight. If anything I said is upsetting to you, next time bring a life jacket. This is Brother Rich, and I'm going to bed. Good night.